Yo, what is up, peasants? My name is JB, and I'm here today with my week 1 team builder for the BBL, or the Bandless Battlers League. This week we are taking on Choiced CJ, coach of the Baltimore Oriolus. And for those of you who don't know, CJ is known as one of the better players in the community, so it's always cool to be able to go up against a guy like that, and it's always really fun to just play good players, so should be a fun matchup, and definitely be sure to go check him out, as well as all the other coaches in the description down below. Week 1 battles go up today, so yeah, have fun and enjoy watching some fun Ubers games today. Anyway, getting into CJ's team, he has a team of Arceus Dark, Mega Medicham, Garchomp with Z moves, Heatran with Z moves, Primarina, Piloswine, Scizor, Qwilfish, Xatu, Archeops, Trevenant, and Ampharos. So a couple things that I just completely glossed over before I read his team off. Well, only really one thing. For BBL, since I am in 3 upload Wi-Fi leagues at once, one of them is going to have to get the post-comp treatment, and I decided that it's going to be the BBL simply because there's a lot of Ubers and potentially a lot of really long, drawn-out games. So for the time being, BBL will be post-comp games and team builders and battles in the same video. So again, it's not something I want to do. I would prefer to live com everything, but you guys know my internet speed. It's atrocious, and uploading 6 videos in 4 days it's not realistic. It's not possible, really. So I'm gonna sort of limit myself down to 4, which slightly more I guess 5, so slightly more manageable, but definitely takes some stress off the internet. And plus, I have other people in my house, so I just can't be uploading constantly. So yeah, BBL will be getting the old post-com treatment for the time being. If some more time opens up, I would love to live com these games, but we'll see. Anyway, getting into CJ's team. First thing worth noting, he has a goddamn Arceus right there. He has the god of Pokemon on his team. It's the only Arceus that is in the league. He drafted it in. All the other types are off the board, and he has Dark, which is absolutely terrifying, just in terms of just being an Arceus. Dark is a decent defensive typing, as well as just being all around just a freaking monster. It's Arceus, dude. There's really anything else you can say. One thing I will note, there is not a whole hell of a lot I can do if this thing gets set up. So it's going to be on the the rest of the team to prevent this thing from Calm Minding or Sword Stancing if he wants to run a physical set. Like, if this thing gets set up, it's just going to be a problem for the entire team to deal with. Negative Medicham, of course, one of the absolute hardest hitting Pokemon in the entire format. Pure Power is just a great ability. Hits really hard. Hopefully we can dodge a couple high jump kicks if need be, but otherwise the thing is just going to punch holes through teams. Good priority as well. Fake out Bullet Punch, so definitely a threat there. Garchomp, Z user. Don't really see it being offensive this week, as he sort of needs like a defensive check to some of my things. Specifically like Mega Blade is a decent check too, if I'm not running Ice Punch, but could definitely see just sort of like a bulkier set coming. Heatran as well. Don't really see Heatran coming necessarily. I have a decent, amount of things that really put pressure on it offensively, so don't really think I'd see Heatran. If I do, it's definitely gonna be Shuckaberry, more defensive set, most likely. Primarina is one of the best special wall breakers out there. Fairy Water typing, just hitting incredibly hard with a great special attack stat. Has a decent matchup offensively. Wouldn't be surprised to see, just your standard Assault Vest set, maybe even a Choice Spec set. If he feels like he has ways to get around some of my Primarina counters, which I actually have in this league, unlike in the PCL. I actually have a couple things that can take a hit from Primarina, so that's nice. Piloswine, really bulky ground type. It's been getting a lot of popularity in league as just a secondary ground type to have on your team because it's so bulky, and it's usually placed at really low tier, so you can usually pick it up for cheap and get just a really thick mon. Still has access to priority with Ice Shard and ground. Stab, of course, it's baby Mamoswine, which we have Mamoswine on our team, so take it on baby Mamoswine. It's really bulky. It's a good rock setter. It's more defensive than Mamoswine, more passive, and it relies on Eviolite, so that sort of thing there. Regular Scizor clicks Bullet Punch, it U-turns, it sponges hits, even though some people think Scizor's not bulky. More on that later. I guess it's it's not thick. It's not a switch into things because it doesn't have that extra like 20 speed up. So whatever. Qwilfish, Spike Spawn is a good hazard stacker. Can be a decent offensive or defensive pivot with Intimidate. I wouldn't be too surprised to see it come, as you know, hazards are just annoying for any team in general. It gets both spikes and toxic spikes. Can taunt things, can destiny bond, just a general annoyance sort of thing there. Xatu, fast, magic bounce bond, prevents hazards, prevents status, could be annoying in like a Calm Mind roll, or again, just like a Rocky Helmet pivot roll. It's a decent check to Mega Glade if I'm not running Ice Punch, again, resisting both dual stabs, so wouldn't be too terribly surprised to see that as well. And Archeops could be an annoying Sash Endeavor lead set. It's really fast, has the worst ability in the game. Defeatist is just terrible. But if I don't manage to knock it into Defeatist, it can run a train on a team. So have to be a little bit careful. If he's just running no item acrobatics, that's annoying. But if he brings it, it'll probably be Sash lead Endeavor set. Trevenant is one of the most annoying Pokemon of all time. I remember when this thing came out, and I think it was Gen 6. Yeah, it was Gen 6. Like, this thing was just running on the ladder. Like, people didn't know how to stop the sub-harvest sets, and it was just the most annoying piece of crap ever. Fortunately, though, it is very annoying. So we do have a few things that can deal with it, fortunately, and it could be like annoying if it's an SD set or something like that. It can be decently hard hitting. And then Ampharos, slow, pivoty, electric type, has access to Heal Bell, has access to static, which can never be overlooked. 30% chance to paralyze all the things, which is just annoying. So wouldn't be too surprised to see that either. So getting into the squad, this is a team I pretty much threw together. I don't want to say by myself, but I just had a few people look over it, and went from there. Just made some few slight tweaks. I feel like this is a really straightforward build, as my matchup against Arceus is just so terrible. There's not a whole hell of a lot I can do. So let's just go ahead and get into the team. So first off, we have Not a Phase, the Mega Gallade, of course holding the Gallade with the move Substitute, Close Combat, Zen Headbutt, and Ice Punch. We have Speed for Garchomp, and basically the idea here is to sub and just get a huge hit off on whatever he wants to switch into it. He doesn't switch into this thing's dual stabs all that well outside of Xatu, resisting both, as well as Scizor being able to eat a hit, Primarina being able to eat a close combat, of course Trevenant also being able to do a close combat. But other than that, he just does not appreciate switching into a dual stabs, as well as Ice Punch having the nice little coverage of Garchomp if he wants to bring that in. So yeah, I feel like Ice Punch was a little bit necessary. I'm not the biggest fan of sub Mega Glade if you're not running Drain Punch, but I needed a little bit of extra oomph from close combat since I'm not running Sword Stance to hit the Arceus a little bit harder if he's not running speed for me, which is another thing worth noting that we'll get to here in a second. One thing you might notice about this team, I guess I should just explain that right away, is there's no Florges, which you might think is my best defensive check to a Calm Mind Arceus, which literally just wins the game. So that's worth noting that I didn't bring Florges, basically because the rest of his team outright destroys Florges. Yeah, I mean, Mega Medicham can, it's a decent check to Mega Medicham as well, but Zen Headbutt's not gonna feel good. It's I believe a 2-hit KO if I'm bold even, because Mega Medicham. Heatran switches in on it always. Garchomp can run a Z move for it. Heatran could also run a Z move for it. Scizor just shuts it down. Like, I just felt like he had too much for Mega Scizor, or too much for Florges rather, that it just did not have a good enough matchup to warrant bringing, even though it shut down his Arceus, which could also run coverage. I believe Arceus gets access to Sludge Bomb, as well as like I'm sure it gets like Iron Head if he wants to run a physical variant. Yeah, it does get Iron Head, so it also gets Sludge Bomb as well. So Florges isn't really a check to Arceus, especially if it's a setup variant. So yeah, just Florges, even though it's my one of my Dark Resist on the team, my only actual Dark Resist on the team, I mean Persian too, but Persian's not a resist to anything, especially a special attacker. But yeah, it just had such a terrible matchup that I just didn't think it was worth bringing. Anyway, next up we got Brain, the Uxie with Rocky Helmet. The moves are Stealth Rock, Thunder Wave, Foul Play, and U-Turn. We have basically we have speed for just random creeps on stuff like Heatran creeping a non-invested Uxie, or Xatu running just enough speed for that. We just have speed. We just have speed for him creeping me. So just a little bit left over. The defensive investment that we do have is actually significant. Well, it's not really significant. It's just like it's an actual thing. It's an actual calc. It allows us to it has the lowest chance for high jump kick, not the 3-hit KO from Mega Medicham. It has a chance to 2-hit KO us even if we're max. So we're basically max. So It's the lowest chance to not be 3-hit KO'd, so that's nice. We're pretty much always 3-hit KO'd though, so it's rough. But Foul Play guaranteed 3-hit KOs meta champ, so if we manage to avoid a 3-hit KO, we can, you know, win the 1v1 potentially, especially if we get a Thunder Wave off on it, switching in or whatever. Rocks are there because they're rocks, and then yeah. Basically, this is our sort of mega meta champ answer because it's our only real thing we have that can eat 2 hits from the monster, so there's that. Anyway, next up we have Ray Romano, the Mammoth Swine. I don't remember why Shaykwaza gave me this nickname, but he told me to nickname a Mammoth Swine Ray Romano. I don't remember the reference or the reasoning. It's been like a week and a half since he told me to nickname it that, so Shay, check the comments. I'm sure Shay will tell you why it's nicknamed Ray Romano. Anyway, we have Blackberry with Oblivious with the moves Earthquake, Ice Shard, Knockoff, and Natural Gift. That is, of course, Natural Gift Fire for the Scizor. We have Speed for Jolly Scizor. Basically, I don't like Scizor. Scizor is annoying. Scizor is really hard for this team to deal with. Just Bullet Punch Name is super annoying, and yeah, having Natural Gift Fire as a way to just keep that in check is really nice. And then, other than that, Earthquake Ice Shard hits a lot of things, and then Knockoff is good for getting rid of items and stuff like Xatu or Hollow Swine or whatever. Pretty basic set. I know Natural Gift Fire isn't exactly basic, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah. Next up, we have Gotta Poop the Vileplume. So we got Brain and Gotta Poop. So we got Brain, Gotta Poop. The Assault Vest Vileplume with Giga Drain, Moonblast, Sludge Bomb, and HP Ground. Speed we have is for Primarina, Creeping Florges. And yeah, basically this is our Primarina answer. We don't take a whole hell of a lot from its dual steps, obviously resisting both grass and water and fairy, and then we can fire back a pretty, you know, powerful Giga Drain as well as Sludge Bomb. We are modest, even though, you know, we don't have a whole lot of invest. It's still gonna 2-hit KO, and I believe non-Assault Vest Primarina. I think it 2-hit KOs. It's a chance of 2-hit KO for sure. It's a guaranteed 3-hit KO because, I mean, Primarina's thick, but not exactly thick enough to live a bunch of Giga Drains. Sludge Bomb is also there, so it's nice to hit Primarina just a little bit harder if we really need to kill it. And then we have Moonblast is another way to hit Arceus, as well as hitting Medicham, as well as hitting Garchomp. So we have a few things there, and then we have Hidden Powder Ground, of course, for Heatran. Next up, we have probably the most standard set you will ever see. We have Rotom Yeet, the Rotom Heat, with I have Papa Berry, the moves are Defog, Volt Switch, Overheat, and Will-O-Wisp. Fizdef with enough speed for no speed Xatu. Just standard AF. Willow and Defog, and just be a Rotom. Volt Switch on the things we can Volt Switch on. Hopefully snag a Willow on something like Mega Medicham or Garchomp or Scizor. And then Volt Switch out on stuff like Heatran or Arceus coming in or whatever. So yeah, it's basically just here to defog and just genuinely be an annoyance because Rotom, or generally, I don't know. I always fuck up those two words because I'm stupid. And next up, last but certainly not least, we have Bubbles the Palkia with a Choice Scarf. Rocking the moves Aura Sphere, Spatial Rend, Surf, and Thunderbolt. We have speed for modest max speed Xatu, and it's basically just what Palkia is. It's a click super effective button forehead sort of build. We have coverage to hit his entire team super effectively, and go from there. Thunderbolt 2-hit KOs, non-assault Vest Primarina. Surf drops everything not named said Primarina or Trevenant. Literally, he does not have the best Surf switch ends outside of said Primarina or Quillfish or Trevenant. Those are his only water resist, which 2 of them drop to Thunderbolt, and the other one doesn't want to take a Spatial Rend, so that's nice. And we have Aura Sphere as a way to hit Arceus if he's not Calm Mind, and yeah, Spatial Rend for Chomp, or just hitting other things neutrally if need be. So that's the squad, and let me know what you think about the squad, and I will see you all in the battle, actually, right now. So let's go ahead and get into that. Okay, now getting back into the game, you can see that CJ ended up bringing the Arceus, the Mega Medicham, Garchomp, Heatran, Primarina, and Xatu. So, all in all, a very threatening team. Arceus, of course, you know, being a literal god, like, it's just going to be a pain in the butt to deal with. Mega Medicham punching close to my team, and then, you know, Garchomp, Rock Setter, or just the offensive SD variant, like I mentioned. And then, you know, Heatran's going to do the Heatran things, Primarina. Just a fantastic wall breaker, and then, you know, Xatu was a little bit surprising. That's the only thing I was really surprised to see. But it could definitely put in work as, you know, just a decent special attacker, as well as like a annoying Pivotmon with, like, you know, sort of a toxic Stally variant that could be annoying. So we'll just have to see. Going in though, I do just decide to go ahead and I don't honestly remember my lead, so I'm gonna quit pretending like I remember my lead, and we're just gonna go ahead and get the battle started. As you can see, Mr. CJ looking all nice with that nice new shirt and those ripped up jeans and whatnot. So he's gonna lead off with the Mega Metachan, as I decided to lead off with Mamoswine, and that was the one thing that was really annoying about leading off with Mamoswine, because like that was the only thing that Mamoswine did not want to see as a lead. Also worth noting, he did not end up bringing the Scizor, so our Natural Gift Fire tech is obnoxiously useless. So he's gonna go ahead and Mega Evolve as I switch into Rotom Heat, and I switch into Uxie rather, as he makes a solid play, just baton passing straight on out. I needed to get my charger. Apologize, you know, getting red battery mid-recording, never a good thing. So he just got a baton pass hard in Heatran, which is a solid play. And he's just going to get a Stealth Rocks up, revealing that he is faster than my Uxie, so he is running a decent amount of speed on this Heatran. So I will just go ahead and U-turn on out against him, just, you know, getting a nice little bit of momentum, as well as, you know, not letting myself get toxic or anything like that. So we're going to go right into Gallade against this, as there's not a whole hell of a lot he can do outside of just Toxicking, which Gallade is, you know, finds annoying, but I can still go off a pretty big hit. If I'm not able to sub, it's not the end of the world. I could just, you know, start attacking things, which is always fine. So, I am going to Mega Evolve here as he brings in the Xatu. And, I believe I just fire off an Ice Punch because it does a ton of damage to this thing. As he actually, no, I do get the sub off, so. Next turn. I sub on the switch, that's my bad. As, I do just decide to go for Ice Punch here as I'm safe behind the sub, as he reveals to be a Scarf. Xatu, which, you know, solid set, really good Trickmon, so it could be really annoying to cripple one of my bulkier mons. Is I am able to get off an Ice Punch, and since he's not bulky, this is going to do an absolute ton of damage. You can see almost picking up the Oko. But I don't want to take an Air Slash because I am unfortunately in range of it. Not you know, seeing it as a good idea to sack off my Mega Gallade this early. I can bring in Rotom, take the Air Slash relatively well, and 2 Air Slashes will put me in Iapapa range potentially. That's just a flat out lie. I thought that did more, but switching into Rocks again will, which is nice. But he's going to bring in the Garchomp on the switch as I make an aggressive play. And I believe I just clicked... no, I look for defect there. I'm always a turn ahead of myself in these post-coms, which, you know, I said I would be doing for this league. So hopefully I can get better at it. But me being, you know, me, I know I can live in Outrage unless he's banded. And I do decide to just stay in and go for a Willow. Outrage will knock me into Iapapa range, which is fan-freaking-tastic. And I can get a Willow off on this thing, which is phenomenal. So a bit of an aggressive play there, I suppose, because could have very easily lost my Rotom had he gone for a Rock Move or something like that. But we take those, and I actually managed to land the Willow, which is always welcome because missing Willows is just the worst. But I can bring in Uxie here, as Burnt Garchomp isn't going to be doing a damn thing to me. You can see that did 30 HP, which is not a whole hell of a lot. And we can get a little bit of Rocky Helmet Chip off as well. And some burn damage as he does get the 2-turn outrage. So he's not going to want to stay in here. He brings in the Primarina, which is absolutely terrifying. But I can just get rocks up here, which is fine. I deflect his away, get mine up, so looking okay there. As my Primarina switch in is always Vileplume, as I actually decide to U-turn out. You know, just hoping he wasn't Scarf. I didn't think he'd be Scarf, but if he would have been, that could have been a bad play. But I can go into Gotta Poop. Good old Vileplume, and just say, hey, what's up? I'm a Vileplume. So this thing's gonna go for Moonblast, and you can see it doesn't do anything, which is exactly why Vileplume was here, but unfortunately gets a special attack drop, so that means I can't be doing nearly as much as I would like with my Giga Drain. So I make a really aggressive play here, predicting that Heatran don't want to come in. I go hard into Mamoswine. I knew at some point I would have to play aggressively since a lot of my prep was useless because I prepped too hard for a couple months he didn't bring. So I knew I had to play a little bit ballsy and just make some really, you know, just aggressive doubles, as he actually reveals to be, I believe, Scarf. Heatran was what he was. He might have been timid or just faster than me, but either way, he's faster than my Mamoswine and just kills me with Flash Cannon, which is just upsetting. So I can bring in Palkia here because it's a damn Palkia and doesn't care about anything this Heatran wants to do outside of Toxic. I believe he wasn't. I don't believe he was Scarf. I don't quite remember. He did show me his team afterwards, so I don't remember. I can pull it up real quick if I can find our DMs. There he is. Man, I'm popular. So I actually go for a T-Bolt on the Primarina, as he reveals to be Wakandberry. solid bring, but he is still 2-hit KO'd, which is nice. He was not Scarf, he just ran a lot of speed on Heatran. So I can just get off another T-Bolt, which will 2-hit KO this thing, which is fantastic. Getting rid of Premium Arena is always nice to see, because it's a Premium Arena. But you can bring in Garchomp here. I guess he really thought I was Scarf, or just choiced in, and didn't really care about his Garchomp at that point. But yeah, I am, of course, Scarfed into Thunderbolt, as he just goes for an Outrage, making a pretty solid play there. You know, I guess predicting my Scarf, or just, again, not really caring about his Garchomp, either or. Like, it was a pretty safe play to just go Chomp there. Because, I mean, either he didn't need it or I was forced out. So you can get off a couple Outrages against Brain, and it's really not going to do much of anything, as I can get off a Foul Play, which, you know, even though he's burned, it doesn't matter. It's the attack number, not the stat after it's burned, so it still does a decent amount, I believe. And unfortunately, Brain doesn't get the kill, but we do get a nice little Will-O-Wisp kill, so that's fine. But in comes the god that is Darkius, the literal god of Pokemon. He's gonna go for sub, and well, boys, I made a bad play. I went for T-Wave. Not that it really mattered, but it kind of mattered in the fact that I didn't U-turn out that turn. So he's gonna get up just the freest Calm Mind of his effing life. I'm pretty much forced to U-turn out here because there's not a whole lot I can do. Foul Play never breaks a sub, so U-turn doesn't either, but I can, you know, at least force a break with Volt Switch into Rotom, which is what I believe I go into here. Yeah, I go into Rotom Yeet, and I force the break with the Volt Switch, as he, I believe, just goes for another Calm Mind. So we're looking at a +2/+2 Darkius, and oh man, things are just not looking good at all. I have to break the sub, and my only hope at this point is that he's not faster than Gallade. If he's, you know, didn't want to run that much speed and sacrifice bulk. That was my only real hope at this point, is that he just didn't have that amount of speed. So I do Volt Switch out, breaking the sub, which is great that it did break the sub, and I can go into Gallade here. And it comes down to whether or not he's running speed for Gallade, and he's running speed for Gallade. So yeah, he's just gonna Judgment my poor emo boy just straight into the dirt. And guys, this is GG. There is absolutely nothing I can do to break this thing once he got Calm Minds up, which I did mention, but like like I said, there's just literally nothing I could have done against this. He had his entire rest of the team to counter my Forages, which was my only real defensive check to this, and he even was carrying Sludge Bomb for my Forages, so it wasn't even really a check, because like I just had nothing for this thing once it got set up, because it's literal god. You can see how little my attack did there, and yeah, it's GG, boys. Calm Mind Darkius is just gonna clean this game. Maybe AV Vileplume can live, because AV, maybe, not a chance. So unfortunately, he got a poop. You know, just fell on his butt, so maybe he can go poop. But yeah, Rotom Meat's gonna come in and cry a little bit and just sort of die. Yeah, this is not a great way to start the season, let me tell you. Getting just absolutely railed by Arceus, getting 4-0'd, so not the best start to the season. Definitely gonna have to bounce back in week 2, and hopefully we can do that. But really good prep on CJ's part. The speed on Heatran was a very smart bring for my Mamoswine, as he was also Sugar Berry, so he was like double checking my Mamoswine with my weird speed tier that I brought, as well as, you know, being Sugar Berry, which, yeah, just good bring on his part. There was just not a whole hell of a lot I could do once Arceus got set up, and well, he played it well, and I was just GG, man. So yeah, be sure to go check out CJ down below, as well as checking out Grant, High Velocity Boy, in the description as well. He made the layout and all the graphics for this league, so be sure to go give him a follow on Twitter. And yeah, that'll be it for me, guys. Thank you so much for checking out this absolute body bagging. So yeah, I will see you all for week 2, and hopefully we can bounce back. We play Splurge, Coach of the Bracknell Beedrills, and I will see you all then. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.